In the fairy tales, in general, in the Grimm Brothers fairy tales, there are witches, giants, and dwarves. Now, all three of those are from the other world. We experience witches as hostile beings with a feminine tone. We experience giants as hostile beings with a masculine tone. And then there are dwarfs who in general are helpful. They tend to have a masculine tone. But, so, what is a witch? Well, many traditions say that the witch is an extremely powerful force in the universe that comes in whenever you start to make any spiritual growth. She comes in. And people have experienced it. They go into a meditation workshop and everything goes wonderfully for 3 or 4 weeks. They feel better, they're eating better, everything's good. All of a sudden, you get kicked out of your apartment, your car breaks down, first your battery goes, and then the radiator goes, and then your girlfriend leaves you, and so on and so on and so on. And this is just a fact of human life that's been observed again and again and again. Mythologically, it means that the witch has been activated when she saw that you were in danger of growing. And she moves in to block you as much as possible. And either you gain enough energy to overcome her or you quit. She doesn't care which. Because she's a guardian of the real spiritual areas. And she doesn't want wimps in there. Is that clear what I'm saying? So at the end of the story, it turns out that the witch was the greatest friend of Ivan or the Snow White or whatever. Because without the witch, the hero of the fairy story would have just been a flat New Age person. Another image of the shadow that you can use is like this. You can say that when we were 2 and 3 years old, we had a 360-degree personality. We were a union of male and female energy, of human and divine energy, of physical and thinking energy, of intuitional energy. It was like a round ball that radiates energy. And that's what a little child looks like when they're running. Then something happens. Among other things, you go to school. And the ball is split into male and female, isn't it so? Split in many different ways. Okay, so I want to go back now to the 360-degree personality which you inherit. You inherit that from thousands of years, as Rumi would say, living as a plant, thousands of years as an animal, thousands of you've been on many other planets, you come down here, you bring all of this incredible material. Then, your parents indicate that there's something that they don't like in you. You're too noisy. We are very dependent on our parents. We cannot resist our parents' view. It's out of the question. Alice Miller talks about that so beautifully in her book. And she said those who have opposed their parents in the past have ended up out in the snow. Men or women. And we know that. We remember that. So when our parents look at us and they make it clear that there are certain parts of us they don't like, then one image is to say that we take that part and put it into a bag that we have. This is the image of the shadow as a bag. Then we go to school and it turns out our teachers don't like certain parts of us. They don't like the dumb parts. We put the dumb parts in the bag. They don't like the part that goes out and pees against the wall at intermission. We put that part in the bag. We don't pee anymore against the wall. I remember there was a little boy in our grade school in Minnesota, and the teacher was always, in my terms, filling up his bag and stuff with stuff. And so finally he went out into the coal shed one day, and there was a little hole there, and then after school had started, he wasn't there, but he was pissing through the hole towards the school. An ingenious solution here. It couldn't be identified except there was only 6 kids there, so you were sort of clear which one it was. But anyway. So, there are lots of things that happen to us then in school when we are very sensitive to picking up images of people around us and what they like and they don't like in us. And then the bag gets longer and longer. About in early high school, you start picking up hints from your peers as to what parts of you are acceptable. You could say then that we spend our life until we're 20 deciding what to put into the bag. Then you spend the rest of your life trying to get it back out again. Well, about 20, the decision seems to have been made as to what's in your bag. Now, I want to make a clear distinction here between the three kinds of bags there are. I mean, there may be more. There's the personal bag, which we're talking about. Now, there's also such thing as a town bag. If you live in a small town, you know that everyone in the town is supposed to have the same things in the bag. This is a town decision. And if you lived in a small town in America, you know what that's like. So the town has its influence, and it wants the same things in the bag, and it doesn't want anybody to take out anything else except what's in the bag. And of course, then people get in affairs with the cashier at the bank, and everybody's bag starts to bust and oh shit, and they're trying to put it all back in. Anyway, so that's a town bag, and then the third bag would be a national bag. And we were talking about that a little earlier. What's in our national bag? Our hatred of black, our communal religious dislike of the dark is all in the national bag. Okay, so we're going to continue now with the personal bag. There would be a distinction between things that your culture and your grandfathers put in the bag for a long time, and it runs in your family that all that stuff will go in the bag. That's one way, isn't it? The second way is that events that happened to you that you didn't choose causes a lot of material to go into the bag. We mentioned child abuse, beating, all of those things. And then there are other decisions that you make yourself. You're only really responsible for the last third. But at the same time, when you're 35, you feel empty because of all those three groups. And if you wish to change, then it's necessary to start bringing all those things back out, no matter what your grandfather put in. That's a blessing to your grandfathers and your grandmothers when you work like that, because they got it stuck in because their grandfather stuck it in. And we have a possibility in this generation, because of the marvelous work that's been done by Freud and Jung and Karen Horney and many others, to stop some of this material that's been coming down for 6-7 generations. In my family, I'll just tell you one thing that I realized 2 or 3 months ago, and that is that among the males in my family, there's a covert thing that goes on. Things are not spoken directly. We treat the women, it's more honest with the women, but among the males, there's something covert, underhanded. Do you understand what I'm saying? That means openness among males went into the bag in my family. And I'll see my picking it up. I'll be open when I'm talking to a woman and covert when I'm talking to a man. And then I recognize my father did the same thing. I can see my son beginning it. These poets try to go so far down in their psyche that certain colors change into sound, sounds change into odors. So once Basho was out on the sea at night, and gradually everything got darker. And something like the sea grows dark, the voices of the wild ducks turn white. And nobody knows what's going on. So you could say that because everything is getting darker, but the ducks' voices remain the same, then they turn white in relation to the rest, right?